Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me for the second Living the Line mailbag. I'm going to be looking at a bunch of stuff that people have sent us. We've been getting all kinds of cool books sent to us. Some of them I've done their own reviews for. Some of these things I don't think I have like enough to say about for review, but I want to expose people to, and so that goes into the mailbag. And then some of this is stuff that has also got included with me and things that I bought that, like this scarf magazine back here came from Partners and Sons with some things that I ordered. And there's a couple things in here that I bought that I didn't think were like something I was going to do a full review on either. So it's kind of a mixed bag, but we've been getting a lot of cool books that people have been sending. So we want to make sure that we share those with people. This first chunk of books here is from Tony Pescatori. This is his series a superhero universe that he's building, the All New Union, and then we'll take a look at three other books that Tony sent that he grabbed from Taiwan as well, which is really, really cool to see the artwork from over there. So you can get this stuff from Tony. Also, he said in his note that the Junction Jones and the Corduroy Conspiracy was out February 22nd. So that's after I'm making this, or that's before I made this video. I'm making this video after that, so I'm assuming you can get that now. The All New Union, there's a series of, what do we got, 4 books here, and it looked like it was continuing on from there, as well as Tales of the Union, which was the original Union. I don't know if there was The Union before. I'm assuming that that's the case, but this is what I've got. This is a good self-published superhero book. It's got like nice, clean, you can see here some nice, clean art in it. I'm not so much into superhero stuff that much anymore. It has to be like the tippy top of the tier for me. So this isn't a book that appeals to me, but I thought that there was some really good art in it. Especially as we get into the later 4 issues, we have a different artist. This first one is by Jazz Miranda, and I think Jazz Miranda works much better with this down-to-earth stuff. Like when I look at this first page, I think, oh, this is really, really good cartooning. And with the superhero stuff, it's not handled as well, I didn't think. This also has like a big time travel multiverse kind of component to it, where the bad guy shooting the Earth out into outer space. So not also, time travel multiverse stories like my big no-no. So for me, the story's just not my thing. Starting in the second issue, you have Chiara Icobelli is doing the art, and I think this art was much more well suited for the content of the book. It's more about the big dynamic rubbery figures, so I really enjoy that. And also as you go through like the time travel stuff and some of the multiverse stuff, this does not want to come off here. You get these more wild compositions and stuff with these repeat images. You can tell the art is done digitally, so it allows for like a cut and paste of the same element over and over more easily, and this shrinking and growing and these cool distortions and stuff. So I think that works really, really well for the book. So if you're into this kind of stuff, I think this is really cool art, and I think this artist colored would be really, really exciting as well. So just a flip through of a couple of these. This same artist keeps going for the other 3 issues that I have here. Then in this one, they switch over from a floppy to a harder cover, and then matte paper instead of a glossy paper. And again, you can see starting to play with more effects here. Gigantic skull helmet. And you can see here now we're going into to be continued in Cosmic Origins Part 2, so there's more coming. And you can see some of the other titles that they've put out. It looks like there's Kickstarters for all of these, so you can check that out. I'll put a link to those as well. But it looks like they're going into the future now, and you're going to get a lot of cool tech and things like that. Then this Junction City Comics Tales of the Union, the greatest comic magazine in the universe. I feel like I've seen a lot of comics claim that. This is a nice little anthology from the earlier on in the world, I'm assuming, the Union, not the New Union. And this one was cool because you have a lot of artists that I would say are right on the verge of, or should have, be to the point where they're getting their first work in the mainstream industry. So again, this isn't the kind of thing that I'm seeking out anymore. I think, 10 years ago I would have been more excited by the artists in here. But you have a lot of people that I think are right there, and they're putting their stuff out, which is great. So this is The Great Tale of Yaren, and the art in here is by Stefano Fortis. And you can see some nice clean art, some really good coloring in there, nice sci-fi stuff. Then you have Madam Union and Savage Swift. The art is by Ollie Van. I'll give you a couple pages there of Ollie Van's art. This artist, Gali Gonzalez, I thought was really good. The coloring in this is pretty cool as well, but a little overly dark, so that when it prints you lose some of it. You lose some of the intensity of the colors that you would have got on the screen and some of what's going on in the line art. But there's this really, really cool, like, greater god alien in here that I think is really well done. And that almost looks digitally painted, and I think that worked better than the areas with the line art. So I think this artist, just doing digital painting would be great. But seems like someone who could be working for Avatar Press. It has that look of a little bit more grotesque, but with still the kind of industry coloring and things like that. But the I don't want to say more independent art, but just a little more edgy, a little cooler than a mainstream superhero book. This here, I liked the art in this quite a bit. The art by Marcus McGuire. This felt more like Ted McKeever or something, more outside that like industry standards, and so I liked that a lot. This is an artist that I'll be checking out to see what else they've done. Hopefully something on their own, because it feels like they're up to something more unique. Then this is the end of one of the stories here. You have Francesco Scoverici. Really nice, clean artwork. Again, like this is very clean, very good colors, things like that. Someone who's right on the cusp of being professional. And here's another piece by the artist. I forget their name, but that I liked a couple pages ago. Then you have Douglas Mora Aguiar here doing a more cartoony thing. Luis Inzunga doing like a superhero type of rendering here. Good dynamic work. And then Jazz Miranda again. And again, Jazz Miranda's stuff I think worked better with that more down-to-earth stuff. But you can see the kind of cartoony action going on here. So that was all really cool to look at. Like I said, there's a couple artists in there that I thought were pretty good that I'll follow up on. But then also Tom, who is the writer of the All New Union, the Tales to the Union had a few different writers in it, but I think it's Tom's universe. He also sent over 3 little manhwa, I think would be the right pronunciation, for books from Taiwan. Couldn't read these, so can't really tell you what the stories were about exactly, but I did take time to flip through them and really try and follow the story, because I thought it would be an interesting challenge in following storytelling and seeing how much I could pick up when I'm deprived of the language. And it was a good learning experience in storytelling. But also some really cool art and some really good work. I just don't think we're getting stuff translated from over there, and that's too bad. Hopefully we'll start to get more. But this one here is just titled 29, and is obviously about someone who's very, very hot. It's a short little story about someone who's very hot, and they set up 29 fans. And I love this page with all these shots of the fans here. I just think compositionally that's so cool looking from a design standpoint. So they set up all these fans. You can see they're on the roof, and like they're finally going to get cool, it looks like. And then the fans turn on and blow them up into the air. And so you get this character flying. The binding on this is not so great. It's coming apart. But they fly up into the air. And that's kind of the end of the story with the fans there. So I thought that was a cool, cute little story. And that one I didn't really need to read to understand what was going on. So that was really cool. Then we have this book here, which I don't know what to call it. It looks like the artist's name is Bilib Lee, or Billy. not sure. This one, I couldn't understand what it was about so much. It looked like maybe three different stories that involved this same woman. There was definitely an aspect of this like lecherous old guy kind of grabbing onto her hand, something to do with marriage, like either him or her, or he's proposing marriage or she's married. It seemed like there was some kind of not sexual abuse, but sexual harassment going on, maybe that was uncomfortable. But I enjoyed the art in this one. There's a couple pages like this where you get this like Mizuki type of photorealistic background with all the plants and the vines that looks really nice. So this is something, this is an artist I really would like to see translated so I could read it, because if this person had really compelling stories, I think this would be a compelling artist. Some of the figure work's not my favorite thing, but the background work is really, really nice. So this was a cool book, and I appreciate this being sent over quite a bit. Thank you, Tom. And then the one that I really, really would like to thank Tom for sending over is this one here, the Console 2073. Again, I couldn't read it, but the art is so cool in this, and I got enough of a sense of what it was about that I really want to read it. I really want to read the translation, and I think maybe this is even something where there'd be further volumes than this, and I think it could be a really popular product. The art in it reminds me of the artist Pampania a bit, someone that I reviewed recently, with the kind of more cartoony, sweet manga style to it, but then with a lot of this hatching and tiki mark stuff, and then really dense background. So here you see you have this kid like in this big shopping mall center, and what it is they're very obviously going into a virtual reality video games. They're putting on these headsets and then going into all these different worlds, and so that gives the artist an opportunity to show off like all of their imagination for different, like here's a cool alien design, different environmental stuff. Here they're going into Suckit Town. So really interesting to me that the lettering in the background is often in English. Maybe it's just Sucktown. Maybe there's not an I. So that suggests to me that I don't know, that the artist is working in English, at least partially. I don't know if it's being written in Taiwanese or if it's being written in English and then translated, but you've got this cool little avatar character going on and a lot of nice designs. And that just continues throughout the book. A lot of cool character design, a lot of cool background design, a lot of cool effects that are being rendered. And it just really makes me want to read this series. Like, having seen this, you get cool effects here, like this character bursting out of all these three-dimensional pixels. That reminds me a bit of what Inio Sanyo is doing with the Dead Demon Destruction book. All that stuttering, that's actually in the title of that book, by the way. Don't freak out. So I don't know. The art in this is very compelling. The environment, it reminds me a bit of Mark Curley's Akiko. Is that what that book was called? Aiko. It just seems to have this charm to it that's really compelling. And from what I can tell here at the end, it doesn't look like the book ends. Maybe it looks like this character's been digitized. So I don't know if this ends here or not, but it looks like it could possibly keep going. And if this was a series, it looks like it could be a pretty popular kids series. So I don't know. Someone needs to check this out, or maybe Tom can tell me how good the writing is or something. But this one was really cool. I really enjoyed looking through it. So that's all the stuff that Tom sent over. Thank you, Tom. That was a huge, big chunk of great stuff. Then I got from Sam Sonis, I think is how Sam's last name is pronounced, Sonis. I got the second issue of the Transmigratory Adventures of Philip K. in the Land of the In-Betweeners. And this one is Ancient Terror versus Eternal Guardian. And I had read the first issue of Philip K. in PDF. Sam had sent it for me and kind of asked for like a critique and stuff, and I sent him back some ideas. I actually had said that I preferred his art in black and white, and we talked about coloring a bit. The coloring's gotten quite a bit better in this book. from the first one I saw. So it's cool to see the second issue of this. I really enjoyed the story content of the first one in the sense that Sam's obviously really interested in mysticism and things that I used to be very interested in and now still mildly interested in. So that was cool. And the book really reminds me of Promethea. Like this seems like Sam has the same interests as Alan Moore, and probably a fan of Promethea as well, because you get here the majority of this issue is focused on the god Glycon, which I think we all only know about because of Alan Moore. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that he's looking to Alan Moore for a lot of this, because the Glycon even is written so that it says, "Don't go freaking out on me, mate. I'm just having a larf." So I'm not going to try and attempt Alan Moore's accent, but it's written so that you hear Alan Moore's accent. And you can see some of the cool, wild compositions. You have the Tree of Life here from the Kabbalah, all these kind of elements that I was familiar with from Prometheus showing up in this, but it's like Sam's processing all of these ideas through his own little psychedelic spiritual journey here. And it's really enjoyable, and seeing the progression from issue 1 to issue 2, I think this series is just going to keep getting wilder, the art's going to keep getting better, and the writing's going to keep getting more interesting. So this is definitely something that I think people who are into this occult mysticism and psychedelics should check this book out for sure. A lot of really cool art in there. This is a book that was The Thunder Beast by Wesley Griffin. This was sent to Sean first, and then Sean forwarded it to me, as was the stuff by Tom. Those got forwarded to me. Now I've got the P.O. box set up that will be linked in this video, that anyone who wants to get stuff on the mailbox can send it directly to me. But really appreciate this getting sent over by Wesley Griffin, Thunder Beast. This one, I enjoyed a lot of the art in it. I did not understand what was going on with the story, I'll admit. There's definitely like a greatest kung fu warrior type of aspect to this. So you start out getting this main character here training her brother, and I like that sequence a bit, but then you jump for like a couple pages to this character who shows up again, like a big mob boss guy. Some really well inked violence here. I like the combination of the really slick, clean line art and then some of these really like ink slinger moments here throughout the book. And a lot of the high contrast design elements I think are really well done in the book. There's some really nice formalisms too, where we got some really nice cartooning here, just going like this character zoning out, and the abstraction of that shape I think is just really rhythmically nice. The fact that even I can start playing with figure ground reversals and this kind of becomes like a scenery here, I think all that stuff's really cool. I just didn't quite follow the story, because it seems like it's all about this guy getting trained at first, and then that just goes away, and you get this main character going around just getting into some fights. I did really like some of the quotes in the book, though. It was like here it says, is that like those that can't do teach thing? Barry, people who say things like that say them because they've never done anything. And I really like that little bit. I think it's been evident through doing this channel that the majority of the people that we talk to also teach, unless they're like in the mainstream industry and being very successful in there. Like the majority of people who we're all holding in high regard in terms of what they're doing in cartooning also teach. They have some kind of side hustles. So that statement has always bothered me too. Obviously, I teach. I teach because I love it, you know. And what I learn from teaching has made me such a better artist. So that I just think that statement is really good. You know, it's like you only say that kind of shit if you've never done anything. If you've actually done something, you know how hard it is, and you know how much backup resources and money and stuff you need like that, and at least in today's society. So I really quite enjoyed that bit of the book. Again, some really cool just design stuff that I enjoyed quite a bit in here. Is getting ready to fight, all of a sudden you slow down and have this whole sequence of her putting her hair tie in and putting up the bun. And I think that moment of like slowdown right before this big, wild, bloody fight kicks off is really good. And then when you get into the fight, there's a lot of nice dynamic art. And like I said, ink slinging where you have like splatters all over that combined against the clean art is really nice. Then this character comes back, but again, I just didn't quite understand the sequence of it all. But they're definitely going into this like mega fight, and I really like the design of this big thing with the eye here, and then these cool like Barry Windsor Smith old school Dungeons and Dragons zombie warriors things. So there's a lot in this book that I enjoyed. It's just the story didn't congeal together for me in a way, but that made total sense. But I really think Wesley Griffith has a lot going on in the art. These combinations of things that cut against each other in a really, really cool way. So appreciate that being sent over. Then I ordered some stuff from Partners and Sons. I haven't been able to do the grab bag videos that I was doing. Just like, I know I'm still spending a lot of money on comics, but I'm trying to slow down just because of the situation that we're in medically with Tori, trying to save up more money for medical bills and stuff like that. But I did order some stuff from Partners and Sons, and they were kind enough to send along a couple extra things. One of them was this, it seems like, damaged issue of what I'm guessing is Sammy Harkham's Crickets, and I think this is issue number 7 from Spelunking Around Online. So it's Budapest 1942, but you can see the cover's been, for whatever reason, they had to take the cover off, and so they were kind enough to send this along, and I was really excited to get this because I found Sammy Harkham on Instagram, started following it, realized that this is a cartoonist that's been putting out stuff for a long time, and went to try and grab the Crickets, but it's so hard to get a hold of. Didn't want to jump in midway, so I'm kind of just hoping that at some point Fantagraphics or somebody drawn in quarterly would collect all of this. It looks like this is all self-published, but this has got to be something that gets collected eventually. I don't know what it is. This obviously is all one large story. So I didn't really, I started to read it and it was like, I don't feel like I have context. I feel like these are, part of something bigger that I really don't want to delve into until I can get it all as one chunk. But getting to look at the art and the production and stuff confirmed what I thought, is that Sammy Harkham is a fantastic cartoonist and someone I'm a huge fan of. I just found out about too late to get involved with what's going on now. So really, really, really hoping for a collection, and really, really appreciative that Partners and Sons sent this over, because I got to take a look at somebody and have some of their work now, somebody I've been looking at for a while. But even here it says our story concludes next issue, and from poking around it looked like this Blood of the Virgin, this is what this story is part of, is something that's been playing out over the last couple issues of Crickets. So I kind of quit reading once I got into the characters talking, but there's a really, really nice opening sequence here that's basically just tracking this woman's journey through the Holocaust, from pre-Holocaust here, buttoning up her kid's clothes and feeding her kid and all that stuff. Like here you see her button up the clothes, and now they've got the Star of David on. There's this really interesting repetition of these whistle noises that go throughout her life, whether they be at work, whether they be getting onto a train. There's even a spot with a teapot, and then later in the story, if I remember correct, there was a spot where they're making tea, and you get the little same kind of noises of the teapot going off or the steam coming up. So really sophisticated, like building of symbols over the course of a story. How that would have a psychological impact on somebody. Even images like this with the walking through a building and the blown out images. This is top level cartooning. I just don't have enough context. And then this book here I got from Stranger's Fanzine Publishing, The Hunt Begins by Shannon Spence. This one I bought. I just didn't have enough to say about it to do its whole own review, so I thought I'd throw this in here. But really like the fun little art, but it's a silent book and it's kind of a fantasy thing, and the only cues you get are like, these are the characters here, and then you immediately pretty much just go into silent storytelling, which is impressive. And I like the quick and sketchy nature of the art, but in the end I don't think that this story built up to enough where I had enough to say about it, or where I wind up curious enough to pick up the next issue. This is an artist that I think is up to something interesting, but I don't know, because it's like here's the end, but then we're obviously going into something that also maybe has a larger world. So I'd need to maybe see a larger collection of this stuff to really form an opinion on it. But there is definitely something about this kind of rough but cute chibi-ish artwork that appeals to me, and the fact that it's all done straight to pencil or with some kind of digital tool that recreates pencils is interesting to me as well. So interesting, but not enough to say about it to make its own video. And then Partners and Sons, anytime I order something from them, they also send along Scarf, which I really, really love this paper, this free paper that seems like it's a Philly thing. And each issue is a collection of shorts based on a theme. So this one was Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm used to the previous two of these that I got seemed to be more like technology or those kind of themes. I thought it was really funny that they went with just a celebrity on this one, and it seemed like the artists were having a harder time, some of them, with the theme. So we'll just flip through. It's hard to get this all on screen, but you have the Garfinator, so it's just like Buff Garfield. This is a 2-page deal here, so I'll just show this one. This is by, well, let's see who the artist on the Garfinator is. Give all the artists shout outs. This one's by Amy Beardemple. The next one is by the brothers Talamantes, who the last time I reviewed it, they did this really cool trick with music that I liked in there. So they're someone that that name that I recognize now. And here they're kind of just having like all these fights. These I'm not so interested in Arnold Schwarzenegger to have read all of these. Like it just, if it grabbed me as funny right away. This is another 2-page one by Mo J. Lozano. It seemed like flipping through this, most of the artists, either Terminator or Total Recall, were their favorite things. This page here, this is a celebration of Total Recall. This is by Nate McDonough. On the other side here, we have Stieg Retlin, Something Terrific. That one was a little dense. I've been struggling with headaches, so that one was too dense for me to read with the headache. This one here, I don't see the artist's name on it right away. Here we have Red Tail by Bummer Comics. Oh, Predator, sorry. I like the art on this one. You see, I can't even read right now because of these headaches. I like this one, kind of a Michael Sweater vibe to it. I didn't see the artist's name on here either. By Camry Lapka. Just images of Arnold dragging. This one here was a big thing about like how Arnold brought gun violence into movies. I thought that was kind of interesting, and then was critiquing him because he seemed to be anti-gun violence, but then at the end gave him his flowers for actually being a Republican who signed gun legislation when he was the governor. It seemed like a lot of these artists are conflicted about Arnold. Like they kind of want to criticize him, but they also enjoy his stuff. This is by E. Kellum, The Dead Man. A lot of them were just having fun drawing like Predator and stuff as well. I didn't understand what this one, J.L.D. Davis, had to do with Arnold. It looks more like the Baron Munchausen movie, which is by Terry Gilliam, I think. It looked more like that. I don't know, was Arnold in that? It's been a long time since I've seen that. Another Total Recall one here. H.C. Noel is artist on this. Eric Chavez. Just some shots of Arnold from different movies here by La Flaca. Cal La Flaca. Jackson Barnes, Arnold's Reflection. This one was actually really funny. It was talking about, when I started out as an artist, someone told me draw every day and draw from life and stuff. And so it said, I started drawing Arnold because I thought he had really good muscles and anatomy and I could learn anatomy. And then the punchline here is now that he's doing like these down-to-earth comics of just people like getting married. Like everyone's super buff and swole. So like what a bad idea it was to draw from the exaggerated anatomy of Arnold Schwarzenegger and how that it doesn't work if you don't do superhero comics. So I thought this one by Jackson Barnes was really funny. And then here, this got too dense for me to look at right now with the way my brain's been working. But we got the funnies, and so this is just a page of a whole bunch of funnies here. Really like the art on this one by Mark Jackson, this really clean cartooning style. So just a whole bunch of like little comic strips about Arnold Schwarzenegger. And really, really fun. I just like Scarf, and this issue makes me like them even more because of their willingness to go into some kind of silly topic rather than the more serious topics that I assumed that all of their productions were about. So if you can get Scarf, this is always a fun little free newsprint magazine that they do. I think it's a really great thing. So thanks again to Partners and Son for sending over, with the things that I ordered, they sent me over still some free stuff. The busted Budapest here by Sammy Harcum, and this new issue of Scarf. Really, really appreciate that. So that's what I've got for this round. Like I said earlier in the video, I have a P.O. box now. I'll put the address there, and anyone who wants to send stuff that we could either review, depending if I have a lot to say on it, or if not, then I'll throw it into a mailbag no matter what I think about it. Sometimes I still like it. I just don't like the Harcum stuff. It's not worth its whole own video. So send stuff over. We want to see your stuff. I want to see your stuff. I want to be exposed to as much of what's going on out there as possible. The stuff that I have a lot to say about, I'll make a review about. The stuff that I don't, we'll put them into these mailbag videos, because, well, the other thing is like the stuff that Tom sent, this Union stuff, like this is a really well done self-published superhero comic. It's just not my kind of thing anymore. When I was in my 20s, I would have really enjoyed it. So there's some things like that just aren't my taste, but they are other people's taste, and I think they still deserve to be out there and shown and exposed so that the people who are interested in this can get exposed to it and can go out. And that's part of how I want to use the mailbag videos is, whether it's up my alley or not, I think it deserves exposure still. Everything deserves exposure, and everyone deserves to find their audience. So please do send us stuff. I'll put the address in the information below, the more information tab down below. And yeah, please send us stuff. We definitely want to check it out as I have time. You're very busy, but as I have time, I'll try and make these at a fairly regular pace. So really appreciate everyone that sent stuff along. Really appreciate everyone watching the channel that's been supporting us and helping us grow. And this is all about the community. And so I think these mailbag episodes are an especially important part of that we all support the artists that we're showing in all of these reviews. That's the whole point of all of this. So thank you, everybody. If you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel and you want to support us, there's two ways to do that. The first one's through our Patreon. We have two different tiers of engagement there. The first one just comes with early access to our videos. The second one has exclusive access to an ongoing webcomic experiment, Pranay Day, that allows us to track different improvements and evolution in AI technology. And it's also user interactive, so the the patrons, not the users, but the patrons would get to vote on what happens next in the story. So it's an interactive experiment. And then Sean and I also give exclusive peeks at the books that we're working on, our private work on there. And then the money we get from that just goes back into buying the books that we show on the channel, help us buy the books, and we just try and put that back into the community, into other creators' pockets. And then the best way to support me and Sean, to support Living the Line, is support what Sean's doing with Living the Line Publishing. So we'll go ahead and take a look at one of his projects now.
Whole new world. 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 For you and
Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash that subscribe button and the like button and the bell, and then you get them.